I'm just going to share with you regarding the sources of ethics. You can say information about, you can say ethos, ethics all over the world. We have lot of literatures, monuments, coins, and you can say some written history, or you can say oral history, or you can say stories and tales. They have descended down, or you can say they are being passed from one generation to another generation. Our rituals and cultures, traditions, mythologies, or you can say likings, dislikings, are common course of life in our villages, folks, those who are cherishing ideals and philosophy is still reflected in their behavior. So certainly they are becoming, you can say, sources of our ethos, ethics, culture, and so many things are there. And first I would like to quote Rules Book of Ethics. Like Rules Book of Ethics, Tirukural Bharat Hari Niti Shatak in 6th century AD. Another one famous treatise is there on economy, Arthshashtra by Kautilya, Vishnu Gupta Kautilya. It was written in 4th century BC. It was written in 4th century BC. Then Patanjali Yoga Shastra, written in 2nd century, or you can say then, and we have plenty of epics, books, great books, I tell you. Then they are being, they are telling about ethical, or you can say character of, you can say in the past or ancient India. The characters we are cherishing, we are enjoying, we are just part and parcel of our life. Then certainly they are guiding us, they are, you can say, guiding force behind our persona, you can say thinking process, like that. Okay. And then a case study type of ethical discourses, like stories of Mahabharat, Gita, Ramayana, or you can say plenty of, you can say, folk tales are there, you can say about certain great men, or you can say legends, veterans. They guide us, and you can say certainly they are part and parcel of our cultures and traditions. Like Bhagavad Gita, written in 2nd century BC before Christ, and Vedantic Upnishad, 4th century BC. Speak and literature which are fashioned with elegance, feeling pride, you can say. We are pride having such type of literature in our kitty, or you can say in our mindset. Ramayana, written by Tulsidas, and written by not only Tulsidas, first one written by Valmiki, sage Valmiki. Later on they were translated. Such type of epics were translated into many languages. Tamil, you can say translated by, written by Kamban. In Urdu it was Chakbast. And folk of, or you can say in every language I tell you, Ramayana, or you can say Mahabharat or Gita, they are being translated, they had been translated, so that everybody is knowing, and they are akin, I tell say, the spirit of Gita and Ramayana. Panchtantra, written by Vishnu Sharma. In case of Mahabharat, or you can say written by sage Ved Vyas. But people have, you can say, are of the opinion that it is being written by our contribution by several authors, not one or two authors are there. But certainly credit goes to sage Ved Vyas, because he was a narrator, he was a first writer, and ultimately it was, as I told you, just pass on to next generation, descended down. I tell you, descended down, you can say, in years to come, and just we have received it in terms of tales, in terms of folk tales, in terms of Mohavre, in terms of Lokoktiya, like that. Okay. Panchtantra means 5 tricks. People are, you can say, not everybody is honest, but certain buffoons are there, certain people are wrong, people are there. They are, you can say, defeating our purpose or noble causes, or they are just misguiding force in the society. Ultimately, I tell you, and you can say 5 tricks are there, everybody must know. You can say 5 to 10 years back when Barack Obama was just having his election, he was having, you can say, one photograph of Lord Hanuman, and you can say a smaller edition of Panchtantra. He said that it is one of the 5 best books in the world. It were translated, and still and this process is going on in all regional languages. Each of this translation had a distinct ethical message to give in modification of original Sanskrit version. Actually, we have 3 types of Sanskrit languages. Then 4th one point is that regional works from medieval period, as a Kabir, 15th century. Kabir was actually vocal, rational, and you can say he was just commenting on, you can say, every established institution, whether they were Hindus, whether they were Muslims, I tell you. And he was very popular, and he was first to challenge established traditions, like you can say Andhavishwas, and you can say exploiting the people, downtrodden, and plenty of things are there on the guise of religion, and the guise of caste and creed, and ultimately people were exploited like them. Then he was first to explode and first to revolt in Indian culture, and he still is a popular because of his narratives, social narratives, or you can say vocal against society, vocal against established norms. He was first to challenge, I tell you. He was first to challenge in 50th century. And one thing is that he said that if any person is dying in Kashi and getting moksha, Swarga, then certainly if God is powerful, He is all almighty is there, then certainly I will go to Maghar, where he was he died there, you can say. वहाँ एक कहना है कि चाहिए एक saying है, मान्यता है कि लोग नर्क में जाते हैं, they are going into hell. तो Kabir said that I will go to Maghar. I will say that just if you are God Almighty, just send me to heaven from that place, if you are my, you can say, God Almighty. Then he was first to challenge, establish relations, establish traditions. Nanak, again you can say, the prophet of Sikh community, and simple life, just like Kabir was a famous, you can say he was known for his simplicity. He was known for it. Again, Nanak is again a prophet of Sikh. Sent down his height of, you can say, or his status was saying that he belonged to simply Sikh community. He was a prophet of Indian, every Indian, I tell you. Whatever things were there, you can say his sayings are very simple, or you can say being imbibed by it, swallowed by each and every person. So Nanak was simple in saying, or you can say whatever his sermons are there, they are just percolating into the heart and mind of the people, or soul of the people, or you can say soul of the common people, I tell you. Then Nanak is still relevant, popular in our day-to-day affairs. Kabir is also popular. And you can say people are cherishing, people are liking, people are quoting like anything. पोथी पढ़ पढ़ जग मुआ, पंडित भया न कोहे, ढाई आखर प्रेम का पढ़े सो पंडित हो. He said, I tell you, in very simple way. बुरा जो देखन मैं चला, बुरा न मिले आपको. In a simplest way, he is saying, he is giving messages to all over the world. I tell you, sir, just first look at yourself before pointing out fingers at others. When you are pointing out one finger at others, ultimately 3 fingers are pointing to yourself. Just take care of that before pointing out or blaming somebody else. First, you just interiorize yourself. Just have a self-exploration or exploration of the self. You will find the answer. Nanak and Alvars and 9 Mars of Tamil Nadu 8th century and Basavaswara of Karnataka 12th century AD. Established thinkers and philosophers who have written, you can say, epics, and their sayings are there. They are being followed by the people, common people. Folk culture, folk literature of every state, I tell you. Whether you can say Uttar Pradesh is there, Punjab is there, Kashmir is there, or Himachal is there, Northeast is there, Bengal is there, Orissa is there. Nowadays, Devdutt Patnaike from Orissa is minting, you can say, he's just writing about Indian culture and ethos, Indian ethos and value system. He's a sort of, you can say, established authority. They are part and parcel of our culture. Devdutt Patnaike is just rediscovering Indian culture. Foreign immigrants and invaders. Foreign immigrants and invaders. First was Alexander and you can say Sikandar, who had attacked India. Several people are, you can say, architects, writers, you can say artisans. They came into India. Say Megasthenes, and he was a general of Sikandar or Alexander. He had written travelogue, he had written Indica, or you can say, and he has written everything, narrated everything about India, and you can say everything, or you can say it was prevailing at that time. The most profound influence were Islam and Christianity. Like you can say Islamic thinkers and philosophers, they also came along with the invaders. There was a first invader by Muhammad bin Qasim, 712 AD. He came here of Alexander. Several people came along with him. Ultimately, you can say after certain duration and you can say span of time, it was Qutbuddin Aibak and you can say Rajia Sultan, Iltutmish, and then Khalji was there, Khalji dynasty was there, and then Mughal dynasty, and you can say then East India Company, and many more, you can say, invaders. They came into and they brought here certain their culture, their traditions, and ultimately when they are settling here and they are influencing our Indian culture. There are 2 museums, a school of thought in case of museum is there. One is Mathura School of Art and one is somewhere in Pakistan, west of India, and where you can say clear cut there is an impact of, you can say, invasion of Alexander, where you can say you have reflection of European culture, whereas in case of you say Mathura School of Art, you have impression of Indian culture, you can say. And if you just want to have a study, just study these school of thought in case of culture. Myths and legends, they are common and they are popular and you can say among common masses, and songs of tribals as well as hymns of Vedas 5,000 centuries back, I tell you. Then I tell you, actually there is a tradition, Shruti and Anushruti parampara. Suppose I am telling you something, you are imbibing, you are swallowing my you can say lecture. Ultimately, when you are passing on to somebody else, to a next generation, first श्रवण होता है, सुनना, श्रुति श्रवण करना, सुनना, अनुश्रुति when you are passing on to next generation somebody else, this is Anushruti. Shruti and Anushruti द्वारा हमारे पास तमाम जो ये हमारे पास खजाना है, ट्रेजर है, it is being passed on to next generation and several parts of the world. Suppose you are just traveling in other parts of the world, we are just you can say sharing our cultures and imbibing their culture, English culture, Japanese culture, German culture, Swedish culture, Finnish culture, American culture, or you can say tribals of in various parts of the world. Like Vedas were written by our sages and you can say Rishis, Muni, and Rig Veda. First is Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Athar Veda, and Sam Veda. These 4 Vedas are being written by our ancestors, forefathers, and another one you can say Upanishads are there. After that, Vedas and Upanishads are there. Vedanta are there. Vedon ka ant, Vedant. Just it is a, you can say, some concluding part of Vedas. Vedant. Vedon ka ant. You can say last part of, you can say, Vedas. Whatever we are talking about Ramayana, talking about Lord Rama, Lord Krishna, and you can say great contribution, greatest work by our film industry. Like B.R. Chopra had Mahabharat, Ramanand Sagar's Ramayana, and then Dr. Chand Prakash Dwivedi's on Chanak. And you can say several serials on Lord Krishna. When Mahabharat is there, there is a role of Lord Krishna. Without Lord Krishna, nothing is complete. Gita is incomplete, or you can say Mahabharat is complete. 18 days fight, or you can say greater lethal than World War. और कहा जाता है कि हिंदुस्तान ने सब कुछ खो दिया, कुछ नहीं बचा था आफ्टर महाभारत. हमारे पास अच्छे योद्धा चले गए, हमारे साइंटिस्ट चले गए, हमारे रिसोर्सेस चले गए. भारत ने फिर वही वो जो ग्लोरी थी, वो जो वैभव था, पीछे मुड़ के नहीं देखा. सब कुछ लुट चुका था, सब कुछ खो चुके थे. We lost everything in you can say Mahabharata. Ultimately, I tell you, so these are the, you can say, source of learning, source of our culture. Is Indian business class often speak in parables and prepared with folk wisdom, mythology and scriptures. If you just go to, it is said that just go to Kashmir. Bulle Shah के जो है ना, बुल्ले शाह हैं, हब्बा खातून हैं, उनकी रूह मिलेगी. और कहते हैं कि कश्मीर की वादियों में हब्बा खातून का जो संगीत है गूंजता है, बुल्ले शाह की जो है ना, बुल्ले शाह का संगीत गूंजता है कश्मीर की वादियों में. अगर सुन सको तो सुन सको, सुनो, जरूर सुनो, क्योंकि वहाँ की कल्चर, वहाँ के सब, उन्होंने जो कुछ भी है उनका कंट्रीब्यूशन है. कश्मीर कभी नहीं खराब था, जन्नत थी. कहते हैं कि अगर दुनिया में कहीं जन्नत है तो वो कश्मीर है, कश्मीर है, कश्मीर है. There was one historian, Raj Tarangani, written by Kalhan. He was the first historian of India who has written, documented Indian history in terms of chronological order. He was the first known historian who his work is still available. Raj Tarangani by Kalhan. 1989 quotes German author Gunter Grass. I think in India some stories should kept alive. Literature must refresh memories. And then Indian managers of today should realize and recognize that the past is not easily removed from ethos. And however, its influence and pervasiveness, even though profound and extensive, is not necessarily consistent. Okay, and then mythology is very much relevant in case of socializing process. And Lord Ram, he is a legendary hero of epic of Ramayana, and role model adopted extensively not only in India but southern South Asia but elsewhere for his steadfast monogamy. He was devoted to his wife Sita and his righteous anger and sweetness of his speech. He was just sweet in his speech and truthfulness. His behavior was based on truth and filial emotions, filial affections, all combined to epitomize all that is good and desirable in man. What sorts of quality was there? They were, you can say, part of his character, and ultimately he was a different persona and character of Indian mythology. And then a role model, his exhibits aberrations on in few occasions are classic cases of ethical dilemma, ethical conflict at the contingent situation, like in case of when Sita gone away from his life, you can say, then people had a different opinion, but he said that a king has left you can say his wife. एक राजा ने रानी का परित्याग किया है, ना कि एक पति ने एक पत्नी का परित्याग किया है. तो there was some ethical dilemma, ethical contradiction maybe there. If you just analyze the situation, quite you can say clear in his you can say in his decision that if anybody is raising a finger at you can say king's character or responsibility, he must be, you can say, clear and transparent. And then, unlike in the Ramayana, in the Mahabharat and Bhagavatam, one single character does not personify all ethically desired qualities. Like characters have a mix of endearing negative qualities, making them more true to life. Some part of negative characters are there, quality may be there, they may be negative like that, okay. And then stories provide unmistakable ethical signals. Ram Karas Paramhans, 20th century saint of Bengal, is known to have used these stories to convey ethical messages, and audience related the messages of Bhagavatam to themselves effectively. Like you can say the stories of Lord Krishna, stories of Lord Ram, they are part and parcel of, you can say, their life stories. They are becoming part and parcel of common people. How to behave, how not to behave is an ideal. Or you can say character of Rama, Ram, Lakshmana, Bharat, Shatrughan, and you can say his wife Sita. They are you can say ideal examples to be followed in the, you can say, character role model. So the people are just imbibing their character. That's why you can say play, or you can say Ramlila, a story of Ram, and it is a, you can say, every year's affair. And throughout the year, you can say, such type of plays they are being conducted all over the India. People with interest, just enjoying, and you can say just worshipping those characters. Mahabharat has several ethical leaders like Karan graciousness, Yudhishthir's truthfulness, fair-mindedness, Bhishma Pratigya. Then you can say in India, Christianity and Buddhism have insistence on to cultivate a pure heart, pure brain. Wisdom springs only from a pure heart and mind. Thomas Kempis, a 15th century Christian mystic, once said that pure heart penetrates the heaven and hell, like that, okay. Pure heart penetrates everywhere. It rushes everywhere. No contradiction. Modern individuals like Vivekananda, and his famous speech in America is famous for that. And then you can say Gandhi, the role, he's a role model of modern India, modern political history, and he is an iconic figure in you can say in during freedom struggle after that, and he is even alive, or you can say most emphatic leader even after his death. He is the man. He is the man where you can say large number of books have been written all over the world. I tell you, he is a man of discussion in case of non-violence, non-cooperation movement, freedom struggle. He was role model of you can say political figures, revolutionary, and you can say masses. He was a leader of you can say 33 crores people. 33 crores people. And he was on, you can say, fasting. People were on fasting spree. And ultimately, he was different man. Once great scientist Einstein said that seldom will believe that such a man of the flesh and bone had arrived in this planet. Nobody will believe that. And still I tell you, when you are going through his can say biography, he looks like that. He looks like that. Oh, Arvindo, Anandamai, and then Einstein, Russell, Tyne, we have also warned us against placing primary reliance on intellect, reason, to neglect the heart and emotions. According to them, you can say thinkers and philosophers just don't ignore, you can say, your emotions, you can say, don't emotions the call of your heart. And in this way, you can think of you can hear or you can think of heart, whatever your aapka dil kya kehta hai, na ki dimag, and whatever your emotions are there, just care for emotions of others. And then American management institutes and universities are pioneer in bringing these subjects to curriculum, teacher subjects. And you can say in this regard, you can say in case of India, Professor Chakravarti is a pioneer when he started as a, you can say, when he started this course at IIM Calcutta. It was, you can say, one of the popular subjects to be taken by students. First, and it was popular among them that they were, you can say, enjoying, and you can say, when teacher like S.K. Chakravarti was there. You can say holy books like Gita, Quran, Ramayana and Mahabharat. Again, I'm just repeating it. Vedas, Rig Ved, Sam Ved, Azur Ved and Athar Ved. Zende, Avesta, a Parsi holy book equivalent to Vedas. And then Bible is there. Contribution from contemporary, you can say, authors. Like contemporary, when you can say India faced attack from the west, Alexander came into picture. He attacked India. Ultimately, you can say, just opposed by, you can say, Chanakya and his disciple Chandragupta and King Puru between the, you can say, tract of Jhelum and Chenab river. Ultimately, you can say, though it is said that he defeated Puru, the king Puru, but he was tired enough and his army revolted, and ultimately he went back and you can say he died. But while he came to India, along with his troops, you can say Megasthenes came, and he had written his travelogue in terms of Indica, and he has quoted the, you can say, culture and traditions of India, and he had a great contribution. It is said that he was one of the satraps, able satraps of Alexander army. And then you can say travelogue by Fayan, Chinese traveler, and Marco Polo from you can say Portugal, and then several books were written, I tell you. Before that, you can say some Britishers came, you can say they have written their travelogue, they have written their history, and they have written about Indian culture and history like that. Like books written by Dr. A.L. Basham, the wonder that was India, discovery of India by, you can say, by Pandit Nehru, our first Prime Minister of India. Then several, I can say, books, great epics like Arthshashtra, Kavya Mimamsa, Ashtadhyayi, Arthshashtra by Kautilya, Prithvi Raso by Banbhat, and Hars Charitam, Aine Akbari, Babarnama, and such type of, you can say, they were written. But if you just go through, you will find, you can say, facts and figures about India. And then great civilizations and architecture, ruins, temples, mosques, and excavations, like they have been found in various places of India, all parts of the world. So they are describing their, you can say, its own stories, or you can facts and figures of the country. I like taking another one, civilization of Sindhu Valley, Sindhu Ghati ki Sabhyata, Sindhu Valley civilizations. And this civilization was, you can say, was ahead of his time, of its time. And they had, you can say, developed city planning, or you can say drainage system was there, or you can say system of washroom, and or you can say thus just everything it was planned. It was planned city, you can say town planning was there. It was developed enough. Then Harappa's culture is there. And again I tell you, they are telling that India was a great country. It had, you can say, its own culture and traditions like that. And then coins released by the contemporary kings and sultans. And then certainly they have been found in India and other parts of the world, and ultimately such type of thing are secrets of the Indian culture and other cultures like that. Another one, carbon dating is there. Carbon dating here, it is helpful in case of date, or you can say era, or you can say you can say which era is there, and it has certain, or you can say finding a sort of age. Collection at museums worldwide, like in Calcutta Museum, Delhi Museum, Allahabad Museum, Mathura Art of School, Gandhar School of Art, and at various places they are telling or they are helping, you can say, in sorting out the, you can say, about problems, and you can say, and they are providing lot of information and knowledge about cultures and traditions. Contribution of various religions. Like in case of India, Hinduism is there, Islam is there, Jews are there, and then Christianity is there, Buddhism, Jainism, and Sikhism is there. Then in finding out about a culture, it is a war history, I tell you. War history of every nation. It tells us something about, you can say, facts and figures of, you can say, culture. And then like music, folk tales, stories from grandparents to their wards, siblings. Knowledge is passed on to the next generation, or you can say storytelling, folk telling, or you can say storytelling in from folk culture, or you can say tribals. Several things they are coming out, I tell you. Ultimately, it is a sort of treasure, or you can say treasure hunt, to find out, you can say, facts and figures about the culture and tradition of the country and other parts of the world. Upanishads, Purans, Vedants, and you can say several other epics like Kalidas, Sage Kalidas, Chandrasekhar, and you can say Kalidas has written Meghdootam, Malukagnimitram, Kumar Sambhavam, Tiru, and you can say it is a great work of, you can say, Neo-Vedic period, and you can say in the era of Guptas. And Tiruvalluvar, and he has also, you can say, written a great, you can say, he has a great contribution. And then you can say, like people like Ramdas Athawale spreading Indian culture by, you can say, demonstrating or playing you can say drama, Nautanki, and you can say are just going into folks and villages. Ultimately they are just working for the cause of Indian traditions and culture. With these words, I am just closing my talk with